I'm sorry about that. But if you have a smaller account that has roughly anywhere between um, 300 to $500, buying a Tesla stock really wouldn't make sense. So you may want to find a cheaper stock, which would be something like this is, for example, any one of these two. You have stock symbol EVH. It's eight at the time when we did this last week. It was $8.82. With a $500 account balance, you can buy 56 stocks, which will cost you $493.92. Even with an ATR of about $62, you can make $34.72 a day, right? So let's go back over here to FinViz. Now, like I said, I use this to find stocks because if you're not able to find stocks to trade, how do you know what stocks to trade? As a matter of fact, I had a client that came by the office this morning and he was like, "Hey, man, I have a certain amount of money and, I want to be able to invest it." And I said, "Okay, great. You know, here are some of the trades that I made last week." And I was showing him some of the trades that I made today. And then he goes, "Oh, what stock was that you bought?" And I'm like, "Well, I already bought the stock. I'm a short-term trader. I bought it on Monday and I sold it today and I made a profit." So you can't, so a lot of people, when they're new to trading, they just buy stocks that people recommend, right? So instead of doing that, here's a way for you to find the stocks that you want. As an example, when you come over here to FinViz, the first thing you want to do is you want to click right here on the screener. Now, once you click on the screener here, you can go ahead and you can select a price point. So I always tell my new traders, if you have a small account balance, $300 to $500, you want to look at stocks between a price of $20 to $50. So once you put that in, as you see here, I'm sorry, let's see here. So let's go back for just a second here. Let me just take this out here for just a second because I want to show you guys something in. All right, so we're going to put it back to leaving it blank where there's no stocks. So right here, as you can see, we have over about 10,370 stocks that's available. That's 10,370 stocks that's on the market that you can possibly trade. So in order to filter that down, first thing we're going to do, we're going to go back over here to pricing, and then we're going to go to price point for our stocks. We're looking for prices between $20 and $50. That brings us down to 3,840 40 stocks, right? So that took away about 7,000 stocks, off the list. So the next thing we want to do is we want to look at our average volume, right? This right here is our average volume. And what we're looking at is we want to look at stocks with over 2 million. And the reason why we want to look at stocks with over 2 million, basically on average for the last 30 days, each one of these stocks that are on this list right here, on average for the last 30 days, each day they're selling a minimum of 2 million shares, not $2 million, but 2 million shares of stocks are being sold or 2 million stocks or higher is being sold. So we're looking for companies that have sold an average of about 2 million stocks or more every day for the last 30 days. So that brings us down to 305 stocks. Now, remember, we started off with 10,000. Then we went down to 3,000. Now we're at about 305 stocks that are available that fit that criteria, just between price and the amount of volume for stocks being sold. Now, you may ask, why are we looking at for stocks with 2 million or more? The reason why we're looking for that is because if you've ever traded stocks before, whether you're a professional or a beginner, sometimes you can buy a stock. Even if you do trading on Robinhood, you can buy a stock and the price normally just kind of stays the same and it doesn't really move. It's because the stock is not, because there's not a lot of shares of that stock being sold because their average volume may be really, really low. So you always want to buy, you always want to look for stocks that have a lot of trades, a lot of people are buying it. At least 2 million shares are being sold on a daily basis. That shows that there's a lot of movement, so there's a lot of chance for you to make money. Next, we're going to go over to here where it says country. Because I'm here in the US, I want to focus on US stocks, right? And the reason why I focus on US stocks is because it's easier for me to get information in regards to those stocks. And another thing that I'm going to show you later on is you may have a stock like Tesla, but Tesla is not only based here in the US, but Tesla is also in Germany and other countries as well, listed on their stock market. But I really only want to focus on the US stock market. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to click on here and go to technicals. All right. And as you can see, that brought us down to 267 stocks, right? But that's still a lot of stocks to look at. From 10,000 stocks to 267 stocks, that's still a good amount of stocks that we have to filter through and look at. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, well, we want to go ahead and we want to look at this section right over here, which is called your average true range, right? And what this means is we want to find stocks that move up or down a certain amount. So when we click on our average true range, we want to click on over $2, meaning we want a stock whose price moves at least $2 or more. And what I mean by that is, let's take, for example, a stock. We look at a stock ABC. And stock ABC's price is $10. If we put in the ATR of over $2, we know that stock ABC is either going to go up to $12 for the day or it's going to drop down to $8. It's going to at least have a $2 movement, right? And by us selecting stocks with a $2 movement or more, these stocks are guaranteed to move. And it's not going to be a stock that we're going to buy and then we're going to sit there and watch it for a day and it doesn't move, or 2-3 days and it doesn't move. I am a short-term trader, so I normally hold on to my stocks for about a week. Maybe I try to hold on to them for 2 days or so, or maybe a week. I try not to hold on to them long-term. And this is why I look for stocks that move an average of $2, so I can probably get my profit within that day, especially because I do a lot of options trading. Okay. Now, that brings us down to how many stocks? That brings us down to 37 stocks that are available. Okay. So that's 37 stocks that we're looking at. And I know, let me see if I can increase the size of this here on. Okay. Well, for you guys on YouTube, you might not be able to see the number that I have highlighted here, but we're just using this so we can kind of filter it down. When we go over into Trading View, you guys will be able to see it a lot better, and I will make it a lot bigger. Okay. But for right now, we were able to bring it down. So now we have 37 stocks that we have to look at. Okay. So now that we have those 37 stocks that we have to look at, you'll notice we have this thing here called ATR, right? Which is the same thing here, right? So we're looking at stocks that move $2 or more, up or down. So when we click on the ATR here and we click on filter ATR, it's going to filter it from the lowest ATR. So this stock moves an average of about $2.05 for the last 14 days. But if we click it one more time and we want to start off from the highest ATR and work our way down. So out of these 37 stocks, this particular stock FLY, it moves up or down $5.36 on average for the last 14 days. So if I was to buy this stock tomorrow, I can expect this stock price to move up or down at least $5. Right now, the current price for this stock is $45.27. So this stock is at least going to go up to $50.27 or go down to $40.27. At least $5 movement, either way, either direction. All right. So now that we have that settled, we have 37 stocks that we have to look at over here. So out of these 37 stocks, what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to Trading View, which is our charting software right over here. Let me fix that so you guys on YouTube can see it. I'm doing this both on YouTube as well as on TikTok. Okay, so over here, we are looking at this on, let's go here, click that and fix that. Okay, there we go. So you guys on YouTube can see this. So now the first thing we want to do is we want to go over and we want to look at stock symbol FLY, which is the first stock that we were looking at, right? Let's delete that. Let's fix that right there. We want to look at FLY. Now, when we click on that, and here's that stock here, right? And you'll sit there and you'll see FLY, and you'll see the company right over here listed on several different platforms. Like we have the Euro trading platform, but we're going to be looking at is the NASDAQ. All right. Now, when we click on that, because we're trading in the US, the NASDAQ. Now, keep in mind, I have not gone through this list. I'm just doing this list right off the top of my head live while I do it with you guys. And these are the things that you want to look at. First of all, why is it that this has only these few candlesticks? And we're looking at each one of these as a day. We're looking at this on a daily time chart. So each one of these represents one day. And the reason for that is because this is a brand new company that's been listed on the stock market. This is the very first candlestick for the stock, which this stock was listed August 7th. 2025. So as you can see, there's not that many candlesticks. There's not a lot of history. If a stock popped up like this and we didn't see that much history on it, then we don't bother trading it. We just can move on. All right. Because we're looking at it on a daily time chart. This is new to the market, not enough history, not enough things to look at. So then we will go back, and guys, the screen is going to be flashing white and black. It's because I have multiple screens here in the office, but a lot of my students, they start off with just a laptop, and you don't need multiple screens. So if you had one screen, I'm working like I only have one screen. So we're going to be going back now to our stock screener, and we're going to go to the next stock symbol, right, which is going to be SMCX, and that's going to be SMCX. Let's go over here. SMCX. That is the stock symbol, right? SMCX. Oh, did I type something in wrong? SMCX. Oh, why didn't that pop up? XM. XMCX. Oh, okay. That did not pop up. Okay, why not? All right, so let's see. SMCX. All right, that did not pop up. Why is that? Let me write that down. I maybe I'm not seeing something clear here because this is the first time that happened. SMCX. All right, we're gonna go back over here to Trading View and I'm gonna type it in. Oh, that's why we only have stocks. This is probably an ETF. Let's take a look here. SMCX. Yep, and that's exactly what it is. It's an ETF. All right. Now, I typically wouldn't recommend somebody who's new to trading to trade an ETF because ETFs are a little bit more complicated. But I'm just going to go through this list just to kind of show you guys. So, for example, this particular one, we have it. Each one of these candlesticks represents a day. So now we're able to look at this on our charts, and we're able to say, okay, do we want to trade this particular stock, right? And based off of what I see here with my indicators and my moving averages, here's what I see. I see this red line here is an arrow. Oh, second. Let me enlarge this for you guys on YouTube. Yeah. All right. So you guys on YouTube can see it better. All right. There we go. So first thing I see here is this red line. This red line is my area of resistance, right? So typically what happens with an area of resistance is the stock price is going to come up, it's going to hit that area of resistance, it's going to come back down, it's going to go back up, it's going to hit it, come back down, and then eventually it breaks through that area of resistance, right? And when it breaks through it, it goes up. And then these green lines and red lines are color coded. These are my moving averages. And what I do in my course, which is called, which I have on Udemy, which is called Stock Trading Simple Beginner Guide, I'll constantly be putting in plugs in here just so anybody who comes in now or later on, they can see. So like here, my course, Stock Trading Simple Beginner Guide. What I teach you guys is how to set up your chart just like this when you go to, when you take my course, how to set up your chart just like this. Now, it's very simple. The green line on top is a moving average, and the red line at the bottom is another moving average. Each one of these have a different, like, basically time frame. Now, as long as the green line's on top and it's pointing straight up like here, and the red line's at the bottom and it's pointing up, we know that we're in an uptrend. The stock price is going to be going up, right? When we cross over and the red line comes on top like we have here, where the red line's on top and it's pointing down, and the green line's at the bottom and it's pointing down, we know that we're in a downtrend. That's why I have mine color-coded. Red on top means we're going down. Green line on the top means we're in an uptrend and we're going up. Now, as you can see, when it starts to consolidate like this here, like this point here, and it starts to come closer and closer together, it's an indication that there may be a crossover and the stock may be going in the beginning of a downtrend. And as you can see, the stock went all the way from up here and started to come down. Would I trade this stock? No, I would not. I would not trade this stock because of two things. If I'm a brand new trader and I'm trying to buy a stock to see if the stock price is going to go up, here's the thing. We know, seeing this, it lets us know that there's probably going to be a crossover where the red line's going to come on top and the green lines will be at the bottom. And that lets me know that we're in a downtrend. The second thing is there's a big fall. The stock price was here and it's just a big gap where it dropped all the way down here. It was last at $63.31. And it dropped and opened up all the way down here at $41. And ever since then, it was going down. And then if we look here at this area right here with this purple line, this is our moving averages. And what our moving averages lets us know is if a stock is in an uptrend or downtrend. As long as this purple line here is above these red dotted lines, I'm just making sure that people on Instagram can see it. As long as it's right down here below this red line, we know that we're in a downtrend. If the purple line is above these red dotted lines here, we know that we're in an uptrend. So if you look at the area here when we're in an uptrend, if you look at these purple lines, it was always above the red dotted line. If you look at when the price was down low, you would see that the purple line is below below the red dotted lines. That is the easiest and most simplest way I can explain these indicators that I have on my chart, so you guys can see how easy and simple trading can be once you understand your indicators and understand the setup of things, and you just need to follow the rules. So this stock looks like it's going to probably continue going down, and until this purple line crosses over on top of the red dotted line and is pointing up clearly above it, I'm not going to believe that this stock is in an uptrend. And until there's a clear distance, like how we have here, constant distance between the red line and the green line, I don't believe that the stock is going to continue going up, because right now you see they're starting to consolidate. So a crossover like this is bound to happen. So I'm not going to even bother looking at that stock. So then the next one that we're going to look at is going to be stock symbol CONL, right? CONL. All right. CONL. All right. And this is another ETF, right? Now, just looking at this here, we can tell that the stock is more than likely going to go down. We're looking at it on our daily time frame. So each one of these candlesticks represents 1 day. Once again, remember what I told you guys earlier. Green line's on top, pointing straight up, but now it crosses down and it crossed over. Green line's pointing down, red line's on the top. It's not pointing down yet, but that's why we haven't dropped, right? Once this red line starts to point, we know that it's more than likely going to continue dropping, because I can say once this red line here starts to point downwards and the green line is pointing down, then we're going to be in a clear downtrend where the stock price is going to continue dropping down. But for right now, the green line is pointing down, the red line's on top, but it's pointing straight forward, right? So there's a chance that it could do a reversal and go back up. But if once this red line here starts pointing down, we're basically screwed. Now, the reason why I wouldn't trade it is in order thinking that the stock is going to go up is also because if we talked about earlier, our RSI, this purple line right here, it's well below the red dotted lines. So that lets me know that it's a strong possibility that this red line is only a matter of time before the red line moving average is going to start pointing down and the stock is going to continue dropping. Right? So I wouldn't even bother trading this one. Now, keep in mind, here we have 37 stocks that we have to look at. I'm sitting here and I'm explaining this to you one by one. So it's taking us some time to go through it. But once you become familiar with this process, you'll be able to fly through each one of these picks like this. So another one of the stock that we're going to be looking at is number 4, stock SYM, right? So SYM. So let's put that in. SYM, and I'm hoping I can find a stock that's going to be going in an uptrend before I end this live. Okay, so this is a possibility, right? So you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, this is a possibility. This stock could possibly be going in an uptrend. Here, Adley, everything looks good. Green lines on top, moving averages is pointing up. Red lines at the bottom is pointing up. Lets me know that we're in a clear uptrend, right? So you say, well, Adley, they're not consolidating. Yeah, there's a little bit of curvature here. It lets me know that there's a possible consolidation that can happen where we can have a turnover where the red line will where they can cross over and then be in a downtrend. But the second indicator, like we talked about earlier, is our RSI right down over here. Look at this. And keep in mind, everything that we're looking at here, we're looking at it on our daily time chart. So each one of these candlesticks represents a day. Look what's happening. The purple line is at the bottom of the red dotted line. So that lets me know that we're in a strong possible downtrend. Even though it hasn't crossed over yet, where the red line's crossing over, as long as this is below this red dotted line, I'm not going to trade it because the chances are it's going to continue going down. Now, what I have to wait for is for this probably to come down here, hit the bottom, and start to bounce up. And then once it starts to bounce up and it breaks above the red line, then I could probably buy. But for right now, this is not a stock that I can confidently buy. All right. We're going to go back to our stock screener and the next stock symbol, MIAX. So we're going to go in MIAX. All right. Miami International Holdings. And for those of you who don't know, I am down here in Miami. All right. So this is another example. This is another stock, MIAX. When you see this, we already know this stock. Remember, each one of these are 1 day. So this stock has only been on the market now since it started on August 13th. This was listed on the stock market August 13th. So this is a brand new stock. It hasn't been around that long. There's no information here that we can look at to tell whether or not the stock is going to go up or down. If you trade a stock like this that has just freshly been listed on the market, you're literally gambling. This is what they call gambling, okay? Because there's nothing here to go by. All right. So let's see if we can find another stock here. So another stock symbol would be ASTS. All right. So let's go here. I'm going to go to ASTS. All right. And let's pull that up. All right. So now that we've pulled that up, we're looking at this and we're saying, oh, okay, look, everything was going up. But could you guys see what's happening here? Like we talked about earlier, look at this. It's starting to consolidate here, right? And the stock price. So this is consolidating. And once we know once the crossover happens and the red line gets on top of the green line with the moving averages, the chances are we're going to be in a downtrend. The second thing that we're going to look at is right down over here. This purple line is well below the red dotted lines, which lets us know we're in a possible downtrend. All right. So this stock, we cannot confidently buy this stock believing that this stock is going to continue going up, because right now everything is pointing to the stock going down. Now, we've looked at how many stocks here have we looked at so far? So far we're on stock numbers. We're going to be on number 7 right now, right? And that's going to be the HIMS. And you guys may be wondering, why is it that all these stocks looks like the prices are going down, the prices are dropping? Well, you have to remember last week was a very, very bad week. I told you, and if you guys look at some of my shorts and different things like that, last week we had the meeting between Putin and Trump, and leading up to that meeting, a lot of people were nervous. So if you're a professional trader, an institutional trader, you have to be aware of what's happening in the news. So you sit there and say, well, the president of the United States is going to meet with Putin and anything could happen. So a lot of people, they were pulling money out of the markets, or they just kind of they closed off certain positions. A lot of people sold off. They were not too sure what's going on, right? So now people are going to get back into the market. So these turnarounds like this don't just happen overnight. This is something that started from last week on Tuesday. So you see, last week on Tuesday is where you start to see the bend around the curve, where the consolidation started to happen and people had a sell off. Today the price is up a little bit, but that's why you're going to see a lot of the stocks that we're looking at, the price is down. And also you have to remember, not only last week that they have a meeting with Putin, but then this week you had a meeting with Zelensky and other European leaders. So people wanted to see how that plays out. Now, you always hear me talk about what we're doing right now, looking at these charts and looking at the symbols. These are what we call technical analysis, right? We're looking at our charts, we're looking at our indicators, and this will tell us whether or not a stock, what other traders are doing, so we can see if a stock price is going up or going down. But then the fundamental analysis, the part of that is what's happening in the news that can affect it. And you guys may be sitting here like, yeah, but everything we're looking at is going down. The reason for that as well is we had the meeting earlier this week with the European leaders, and everybody thought that there was going to be a meeting between Putin and Zelensky. Now, all of a sudden, Zelensky is saying, the Russian government is saying, well, we don't know if a meeting's going to happen. So now there's a lot of uncertainty with that. And now Trump, once again, is bringing up tariffs, right? So there's going to be tariffs on metals and steel, and aluminum. How many things can you look at around your house that is made out of metal and aluminum? You got can sprays, you have everything, car parts, everything like that is practically like half of, I'll probably say 75% of the things in your home is probably made out of metal, steel, or aluminum. So now the market's reacting to that, which, he talked about today. So the market's going to react to that and say, oh my gosh, we have to buy even if you can't even say technology stocks are safe, because when you open up a computer part or a cell phone, there's metal, there's aluminum in there. Um, so it's going to affect a lot of sectors. So you're going to see a lot of stocks that we look at, the price is going to be going in a downward direction right now because there's a lot of uncertainty. So the next stock we're going to look at is HIMS, right? And let's go to HIMS, HIMS. And I'm going to wrap this up because right now it's 8 o'clock. I try to keep my lives under 30 minutes. So I'm going to wrap this up after I look at this one more. I'm going to try to find one more stock after HIMS to see if we can find one more stock that's possibly going up. Well, you know what? This might be it. All right. So this is a good example of a stock that might possibly be going up. So we're looking at the stock HIMS, right? And when we look at this stock, we can see here there's a lot of zigzagging, crossing over. And a lot of you guys may look at this and say, well, this is a possible. Well, you know what? Let me show you something here. So this is our area of resistance right here. So typically, like we talked about, a stock price goes up, it hits the area of resistance, normally bounce back down. It hits another area of resistance, come back down, right? This is the area of support, meaning the stock price going to come down like you see here. It hits this blue line, which is the area of support, and then it bounces back up. So what can happen is I'm going to draw a line here, right? So I'm going to draw a line here at this area along with this red line, and I'm going to extend the area of resistance so you guys can visually see it. And we're going to make that one red so it matches, right? And then we're going to draw another line here, and we're going to extend this one for the blue line, and we're going to make the color blue as well. So just so you guys can visually see it. And I want to show you something. So as you guys can see, I extended those areas of resistance and the areas of support down here. Look at what happened. See, it hits this area of support, kind of goes and bounces, hit the area of resistance, comes back down. Look what happened here when it hit this area of support. You see, it hit the area of support, and then we have a green candlestick, meaning the price hit it and it bounced back up and ended up in the positive. Now, the chances are that this stock can, and I'm going to get my pencil here. I'm not a very good drawer. The chances are the stock tomorrow, it can start going back up, and it can hit this area again, and it can come right back down. It could do that one more time. It can do that 2 more times, right? It all depends, right? It can do this, but what's gonna help us understand this is going to be this. Remember we talked about this area right here, this purple line, this area of our RSI. So look what happened over here with our RSI. It came down, it hit this bottom area like I talked about, and now look, it's pointing up, right? So I'm a short-term trader. So if I did an options, myself, I'm going to do an options trade, or I'm going to do a short-term trade where I'm going to just try to make as much money as I can. I will buy the stock here tomorrow morning, and what I would do is I would ride the wave probably up until here. So now this stock right here has an ATR of $3, and so this stock has an ATR of $3.55, which means this stock price can go up. So let me show you right here what we're talking about ATR. So as you can see with HIMS, we have an ATR right here of $3.55, and we talked about this earlier. So this stock price has for the last 14 days has gone up or down at least $3.55 on a daily basis. So tomorrow morning, if I'm correct, the stock can go up at least $3.55, or it's going to come down $3.55. I can expect it to move at least that much tomorrow. See, so now I'm looking at it. It bounced off the bottom. You see it's pointing up. It's pointing in an upward direction. Let me supersize that so you guys can see. So you see it came down, it bounced on the bottom, and now look, this is pointing straight up. All right, this is the purple line. I just increased it so you guys can see. So now that I see it's pointing upwards, my expectation here is that this is going to go like this. It's going to hit this. It's either going to hit it and come back down, or it's going to hit it and it's going to break through. But I know that right now it looks like it's going in an upward direction, right? So because of that, which is this area right here, I would feel comfortable buying the stock here. And what I would do here, and let me increase this again, and this is why I love Trading View. This is our red dotted line. I would actually go ahead and I would put in an alert right here. So you see this little yellow line that just popped up over here? this is an alert. So I would say, hey, you know what? I'm going to buy the stock price. And when either the ATR is going to come and hit it, because once it gets to this area, there's a chance that it can bounce back down. So I set an alert on this one right over here, because I don't know what the highest point is here. Because if it does go up, well, here's another thing. Let me correct that. The other thing is, once it starts going up, right, that indicates to me that we're in a sideways trend. Meaning, when I say sideways trend, that means the stock is probably going to go up and hit this area and then bounce back down, or it's going to hit it and it's going to continue going up. But I can expect it that this stock is at least going to go up. Now, what's going to determine whether or not it breaks through this area is by me looking at my RSI down here and seeing if it breaks above the red lines. Then I know it go up. So yeah, this is a stock that I'm going to keep an eye on tomorrow, and I'll see what happens with it. If it opens up higher, then I would probably buy it and then ride the wave up a little bit and try to be out of the trade by Friday. All right, I don't like going into the trades over the weekend. So for me, I would probably put in an options call, because with an options call with something like this, I would probably put like $300 to $400 at risk, and with a $2 movement, I can probably make $200 per contract. So each contract would cost me about $300 to $400, and a $2 movement can get me $200 to $300, maybe $200. All right, so that's just kind of like how you can go through and you can pick different stocks, and it's very important that you guys use something like FinViz. There's a lot of great videos on YouTube. If you actually just Google FinViz stock screener, there's a lot of videos on YouTube that show you how to use it. But when you take my course that's available on Udemy, and this is my course right here on Udemy, I actually talk about it. And as you can see, it's the highest rated course. And I'll show you like where I actually talk about FinViz, and I show you how to use it, and I show you all the things that we just went over. Because with something like FinViz, what happens is you're able to filter through the over 10,000 stocks and find stocks that you're looking for. And to go through 37 stocks, I can probably go through that in less than 30 minutes. I normally here in the office by like 6 o'clock in the morning. I go through and I filter through the stocks that I need. I create a watch list like this one over here. And for those of you on YouTube, let me show you my watch list here. So I would create a watch list like this right here. And, these are stocks that I'm going to keep an eye on for the day and try to trade. All right. So, but that's basically it for the day. I'm going to call it a day for right now. I have another one-on-one class that I have to do with one of my students. But like I said, if you guys are really interested in learning how to trade stocks, I welcome you to go over to Udemy, which is one of the largest online learning platforms. Sign up for the course, and once you sign up for the course, you'll learn everything that I'm talking about over here. And if you have any questions, you'll have access to my phone number where you can message me, call me at any time, ask me about any stocks that you're interested in. And we can also do one-on-one training classes at no extra charges for you guys as well. And then you also have access to my private lives where I talk with all of my students, and they ask me questions in regards to other stocks that they're interested in, or stock trades that they might have made where they went wrong. And we can work together as a group and help each other out and different things like that. But that's it for right now, guys. Thank you guys for signing in. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Later.